I've actually shared this information in a past 980. It was before I was doing videos. It was just in written form. And there was actually a problem with the video that's embedded in this PowerPoint. This PowerPoint is actually a tabletop or TTX that I had to do for our National Fire Academy class back in 2012. The video that's embedded in it is what really got me thinking about sharing this again. That video was done by the crews at 50s to show a worst case scenario aircraft incident at Camarillo. You're going to see that video looks very similar to the video of the recent air medical jet crash in Philadelphia. And I got to give them kudos for really knowing what they're doing and coming up with a great video. So it got me thinking about it, and it reminded me that it's a good time to refresh and a good time to bring this out. And again, I have a video now that I can show that they did a really good job. Can't stress enough the importance of you going down there and talking to the crews at 50s. Ask them what's occurring on the airfield. Ask them how the airfield works, and ask them how they operate. No, we're not getting tons of jet crashes, and commercial airline travel is still like the safest form of transportation. But it does happen. And in fact, for us, although the jets that we have there, the corporate and charter jets, it's very infrequently have any incidents with them. I'm not fear-mongering, but we get quite a few incidents at the airfield itself of what you could kind of call more of your general aviation aircraft. And in fact, on the jets themselves, the charter jets and the corporate jets, I've only been on really, I think, 2 true incidents. One was a jet engine fire that we basically just stood by on. And then the other was a fire in the galley. And for that fire in the galley, we spent more time worrying about banging the interior of the airport, really nice interior furnishings with our bottles, than we did anything else. That being said, we've had quite a few of our other planes, of our single engine, twin engine, some of the smaller jets, ultralights, experimental aircraft, and rotoring. That has occurred, and it does occur. And so I think it's a great time just to kind of refresh. If you're working in 3s and 4s, you probably don't notice it. But I guarantee if you go talk to the people there in Battalion 1, you'll get some really good information on how we've responded in the past and some good lessons learned. And as I've said before, something I didn't make up, your body can't go where the mind's never been. So this is a chance to do when then thinking. This PowerPoint itself, this tabletop is designed for a bigger audience and kind of a larger like event use. But that being said, it has been used effectively for battalion drills, engine drills, and also just your own personal when then thinking. And it works great for that. It's broken up in basically what would you do in the first 30 minutes? Phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1 is en route, and what would you need, what resources, what's your initial objectives? You get on scene, and what do you have, and what are you going to do? And then the final phase of it is related to the fact that you've got over 4,000 gallons of jet fuel burning. You've got a lot of foam and a lot of water, and it's getting into the storm drains. How are you going to handle that? The event itself is dynamic just for the fact of the scope and the size of it. It's basically a very large structure fire with a very large flammable liquid fire with a whole lot of injured patients and an MCI. And that's really what you can expect, and that's kind of what you saw in Philadelphia on a smaller scale. Because that again, worst case, that's what you could see. Now, I want to remind everyone that although we don't have a lot, we are in a very, very busy airspace. We have 4 airports in the county, 3 general aviation, 1 military, and we're in the flight path of the 2 busiest airports in the state, Los Angeles International and Burbank. And so we have the potentials there, and again, we have had our incidents. One little myth I want to address before I get into the next video, or the actual video, is this belief that these are just vehicle fires with wings or vehicle accidents with wings. I think that's a horrible way to think about it because it's not true. First off, a car, there's an expectation where cars would crash. They don't normally crash in the middle of lakes, crash in the middle of a building, crash in a field. An aircraft incident, the dynamics of where it can occur and the complexities that add, they could be anywhere. It could crash anywhere. So that kind of takes away from it. The other part is cars are designed to crumple and protect the occupant, which does 2 things, protects the occupant. The other thing is if they truly are pinned, there's some strong points that we can pry from, some points that we can use to help free the victim. Aircrafts are lightweight. They don't usually stay together when they crash. And if they do on a smaller event and you're trying to pry somebody out, you don't really have good purchase points. Normally they blow apart and they impale our patients and hurt them with as they throw them out and etc. What you could expect is a lot different than what you'd see from a car accident. The other part is I don't know any cars that have fuel in the roof of the vehicle, whereas planes have them in the wings. The wings could be underneath the passenger compartment. They could be above the passenger compartment. So you're basically surrounding the occupants with fuel. So if the plane does stay together, you have quite a bit of fuel inside and around the patient. On the jets, it's usually more of a kerosene, heavier fuel, a little harder to ignite, but there's no problem with it igniting. With our smaller planes, it's many times avgas, which is like racing fuel, much higher octane, much easier to ignite. So there's a big difference there. The other difference is not only the amount of fuel, but the way it's coming out. So I could have a very large pool fire that I will not get with a vehicle. I can also have vertical fire. Now let me explain. So our foam is designed for horizontal spread, horizontal fire, a pool fire. With an aircraft, you have the ability for fuel to be leaking and flowing from the wings where the fuel is stored, which now creates vertical fire. So you have fire on the ground and you have dripping fire, vertical fire coming from any holes and gashes in the wing. Foam has a very hard time putting vertical fire out. It'll put the pool fire out, but it has a hard time putting vertical fire out, if at all, without a large amount. So not only is it hard to put out, but it also disturbs the foam blanket and breaks your foam blanket and causes problems there. So things, again, you don't normally have with the vehicle fire. So I hesitate to even call them similar to that. Kind of hate when people do. Not true. So I want to show you this video of the crash in Philadelphia, and then I'll show you the video that they came up with for this event, and you'll see the similarities. So they did a really good job of figuring out what they thought would happen really did happen.
And, yep.
I'm calling 911.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! What the hell? What the hell?
Come on, guys.
Notice fire spread out. So before I show you the video, I want you to see the first part of this actual PowerPoint or TTX. It does give you some information about our actual airport, Camarillo Airport. It talks about the length of the runway is 6,000 feet, gives you a pretty good overview. It talks about the number of air operations and the number of aircraft based at the airport. This was old information, 2012. I know these numbers are higher now. We only had one jet center at the time. I believe there's 4 now between Cloud 9 and Air 7. There's another one. And I know that there's more. There's more of everything on this list, and there's more operations daily that are occurring at the airport. It's gotten much busier. Back then, it was the 34th busiest general aviation airport in the country. Santa Monica was 52. Van Nuys is usually number 1. Very busy airport, Van Nuys. Santa Monica is closing, which has pushed more aircraft into Camarillo. And again, these are old numbers, so I'm sure that our airport is even busier. We've had incidents in the past. I encourage you again to talk to the crews, and they'll talk to them about that. Again, we wanted to go with worst case. So the worst case was an east wind day with the planes taking off over the outlet mall. The outlet mall is one of the largest outlet malls in California. It's got thousands of people there at any given time. You'll see it mentioned the shoe mall, which is the promenade side, because back in the day it only had shoe stores. Now it's got a variety of stores, including restaurants, and they're building 2 hotels right across the street from it. So that was the potential worst case scenario. What you're seeing here is the airport's critical rescue and firefighting access area. This is where the expectation is most incidents will occur. And it is true. Most of the accidents that we've been on, most of the ones that I've been on, were right off from the tower. So right in the middle of that red square or rectangle. I included the fact that although they're not part of that area, you can see that FCC, Station 50, and the promenade are 1,200 feet away at most. So although they're not included in that, they are not far away. So this is the video. Hold on. This is basically just telling you what you would have or what this scenario is. So when you're trying to use this as a scenario-based training, kind of gives you an idea what you have. And here's the video. Watch the similarities between this and Philadelphia.
Got multiple emergencies on board with possible hydraulics, hot gear, everything. Getting a lot of lights there. Request direct vector.
Engine 55, engine 54, medic engine 52, medic engine 51, truck 54, squad 50, crash 50, battalion 1, battalion 5, training 4, air squad 9, aircraft down into a business at the outlet mall, Ventura Boulevard at Los Posos Road, command 36.
So as you can see, very similar. So they did a really good job of predicting what they think could happen. The way this PowerPoint or the TTX is set up is that it gives you some key issues, and then it'll give you some things to discuss throughout the phases of this. What I wanted to get to is just to show you, as I said before, what you're really dealing with and what this scenario will allow you to do is a aircraft incident that includes a very large structure fire, a very large flammable liquid, and an MCI. It's again, great tool for your use. Feel free to use it how you see fit. I encourage you to go talk to the crews, especially the battalion chiefs. Go talk to the crews at 50s. Get them to drive you around the airfield. I've never felt more uncomfortable than the first couple of times I drove on that airfield. And you need to be comfortable out there so that instead of trying to figure out where you're supposed to be and what you're doing, you're actually worrying about the incident. Obviously, this incident is occurring off the facility, so a little bit different. But as I stated, most of the incidents are occurring on the actual airfield. So have a great day, enjoy, and have a good shift.